Thank you for watching this Troop Finance training. This training will take you through the steps of opening a Troop bank account, give you the requirements for being involved with a Girl Scout Troop account, give suggestions on how to use the Troop's financial resources wisely, and tell you how to update account signers if the need arises. We'll also cover the steps required to complete the year-end financial report due every year by June 30th. When opening a Girl Scout bank account, the troop must be planning on accepting funds and/or participating in a product program within a month. Most banks require activity on a new account within the first few weeks. A minimum of 2 unrelated signers are required to be on the account, along with required council staff signers. The troop signers must be approved volunteers with a current membership and background check on file. The signers need to be active in the troop so that they can verify that the troop account remains in good standing and funds are being used properly. Once the 2 signers are verified and have gone through this training, they will receive a copy of the bank account agreement. This form is required to be submitted to and approved by Girl Scouts Western Oklahoma staff before an account can be opened. Troops can choose either Arvest, MidFirst, or BankFirst as their troop's bank. Once we receive the completed bank account agreement, we will be able to start the process of opening your account. Please do not go directly to the bank, as all account signers must be pre-approved by the Girl Scout Finance Department. Troops that do not have access to an Arvest, MidFirst, or BankFirst location may submit their preferred bank on the bank account agreement. Once this agreement is received and approved, further instructions will be made available regarding the opening of the new account. Please note that per Girl Scout Western Oklahoma Finance Guidelines, Girl Scout troop accounts cannot be interest-bearing and must be a checking account and not a savings account. Once a bank account is established, troops are encouraged to request a debit card for their account and will need to purchase at least a small book of checks for reimbursements and other expenses for which a debit card cannot be used. Troops will also need to fill out a checks Inc. form that will help protect the account against any bad checks written to the troop. The checks Inc. form is available on our website or can be requested at the time the bank account agreement is approved. Now let's talk about using troop financial resources wisely. With the paperwork completed and the account completely opened according to bank guidelines, money from dues or product programs can be deposited. Now it's time for the girls to decide how they're going to spend their funds. Remember, Girl Scout funds are girl earned and girl spent. How the funds are used needs to be a decision made by the entire troop, not just the leaders, parents, or a few select girls from the troop. Funds can be used to purchase badges and patches, journeys and guidebooks, uniform components, pay for celebrations and ceremonies, community service projects, field trips, and more. Let the girls come up with ideas and then have the troop vote. It's amazing the ideas that girls at all levels can come up with. If you aren't sure if an expense is allowed by the Girl Scout financial guidelines, be sure to contact your troop support specialist or the council's finance specialist at the Girl Scout office. In the case of troop finance, it's best to get permission than to ask for forgiveness. As the girls begin to spend their troop's funds, it is the treasurer's responsibility to keep track of the receipts and expenses. All income and expenses must be reported by June 30th of each Girl Scouting year using the year-end financial report. You may be asked to present copies or originals of bank statements and receipts when you submit this report. You can write on them and make notes for you to use later. Also, there are resources available on the Girl Scout Western Oklahoma website to help troop treasurers and leaders keep track of the troop's funds and make the year-end financial report easier to complete. The troop dues record tracks each girl and the troop dues she pays. Troop dues vary by troop and are not required. If your troop does decide to charge troop dues, remember to keep the amount realistic and take the financial needs of all your Scout families into consideration. The detailed transaction record form is a great way to record all of your troops' income and expenses throughout the year. This is especially useful at the end of the year when filling out the year-end financial report. A copy of this record can be submitted with the year-end financial report to better show how funds were spent. The troop reimbursement form is used for leaders, volunteers, parents, and other adults who make a purchase for the troop and need to be reimbursed. This form allows these funds to be tracked and gives the troop treasurer a record of who was reimbursed, what the purchase was for, and which check was used to make the reimbursement. When adults fill out this form, they will also need to provide the receipt to verify charges are approved for Girl Scout accounts. As a checks and balance for the troop, the person who is receiving reimbursement or payment should never be the person who signs the check. For example, if the troop treasurer needs to be reimbursed, the cosigner on the account should be the one to verify the receipt and reimbursement form and write the check. With troop funds, transparency is key, and girls as well as adults should be informed on their troops' financial health. We recommend making sure to have bank statements, receipts, and other financial forms available in a binder or other format for girls, volunteers, and parents to see how the troops' funds are being used, either on a monthly or at least a quarterly basis. The financial skills learned in Girl Scouts will help girls better understand their personal finances in the future. Keep in mind that even though troop funds legally belong to Girl Scouts Western Oklahoma, the sales tax exemption is not available for troop or group expenses. This is in compliance to a law enacted by the Oklahoma Tax Commission and cannot be overruled by any Girl Scout staff. Periodically, the Girl Scout Western Oklahoma Finance Department reviews troops' finances and year-end financial reports. The role of the troop treasurer is to ensure that funds in the troop are being used within Girl Scout guidelines, benefit all the girls of the troop, and are spent based on girl-led process. The role of the Girl Scout staff is to oversee that Girl Scout funds are being properly used and recorded by the troop. This is done in 3 different ways. Every year, every Girl Scout troop, group, and service unit are required to submit a year-end financial report to the Girl Scout Finance Department by June 30th. The year-end financial report form is available online or by request. You may be asked to provide bank statements, copies of receipts, originals, or copies of the bank statements, and originals or copies of any financial forms used by the troop, including the troop reimbursement and detailed report record forms. If a troop has a remaining balance of $150 or more, an explanation or budget for the remaining funds must be included with the year-end financial report. Finally, all troop signers on the bank account must review the year-end financial report and sign the bottom prior to being submitted to the Girl Scout Finance Department. Another way the staff oversees the accounts is to conduct monthly finance reviews of randomly selected troops. If your troop is selected, you will be notified by email which month will be reviewed and what items need to be submitted along with a copy of the bank statement. Even if your troop is selected for a random review, you must still submit a year-end financial report by June 30th. Finally, a third review is possible if parents, leaders, and other volunteers raise concerns regarding a troop's finances, or the finance department may have concerns that need to be addressed. In these cases, the troop leader and/or treasurer will be asked to submit bank statements and receipts to be reviewed by the Girl Scout Finance Department. Common red flags include questionable charges made by the troop, bounced or missing product program payments or frequent overdrafts on the troop account. Please note, even if you are selected for a financial review, it does not automatically mean there is any wrongdoing on the troop's account. Once the review is completed, the Girl Scout staff will notify the leader and/or treasurer of the results and follow up as necessary. Occasionally, the signers on a troop bank account need to change. The first step is to inform your troop support specialist who needs to be removed and who will be added onto the account. Anytime a leadership changes takes place, or new signers are added or taken off, the new leaders and signers will need to complete this training along with becoming an approved volunteer with a current membership and background check on file. The steps to update the bank account with the new signers will follow the same process as opening a new troop bank account. Don't forget to submit a new CheckSync Form 2 when signers change to protect the troop from bounced checks. Although it may seem like a lot of information, being a troop treasurer can be a very rewarding endeavor. Remember that you are not alone in your duties and that your troop leader, service unit treasurer, and the Girl Scout staff are here to help with further training, questions, or ideas. You have many resources available to help you, so don't let an issue get too big before reaching out for help. Please remember, you can always return to this training at any time for a refresher on troop finance. Thank you for taking on this leadership role in your troop and for everything you do for the girls.